Check. 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 Oh my fucking fuck. Alrighty, can you hear me this time? Can you hear me tapping the microphone? Great. That's exactly what I wanted. Good. Okay. That's very, very, very good to hear. Okay, good. I'm really, really excited about that. Sorry that it took me a second or two to get going. I have posted all the new links, and it might take a few people a few minutes to get here, but we're going to do this right this time. Thank you for your bravery. I shed the coat because it was getting stupidly hot in here. And oh, hi Mike, how are you? I didn't know you were here. Good to see you. How you been? And I'm just testing one little thing I'm recording right now. And I'm just doing one quick, there we go, testing, checky, check. That might be a little bit loud, but that's all right. Yes, that's good. Good, that'll work fine. And we're gonna get a nice recording of this. Hi, Laura. Hi, AJ. Good to see everybody here. Sorry that it took me a few minutes to get this stuff up and running. Okay, we're gonna do this then. I will. Yeah, we have a decent crowd. We're just gonna get started. All right. I'm not gonna have a lot of ceremony around this one. Like the first show that I did on this thing, I like wore the blue jacket from the liner notes of The White Beyond. I'll put on my black coat that I was wearing before, but because this is like an all request thing, I'm going to try to be in dialogue with y'all throughout this, and maybe we can even have some fun. Thus, okay, good. Last night I dreamt about black water pulling me in with its hands. The ocean's breast was cool on my face, and the Pharisees' words were in the sand, saying, take the life of the sea, take the life from the sun, take the breath of the land, with the light and the life and the breath. Follow me, follow me, follow. Follow me, follow me, follow. Follow me, follow me, follow. Were we ever more than possible? Willing candle flame to rise and fall, pushing matchsticks with our teenage mind. Somehow snap our fingers and kill the lights. Was it real? I've got to know. Is this the glade I fear I made up years ago? All the ghosts you felt so certain of, were they just a dream of childhood? Have you woken? Have you heard enough? Or are we finally in the wildwood? The wildwood. Did I make the storm clouds fall away? Did I make her love me for a day? I was 13, oh, I couldn't sleep, shimmering with impossibility. Was it real? I've got to go back to the start. I gotta find my heart. I've gotta know. Were the ghosts you felt so certain of, were they just a dream of childhood? Have you woken? Have you heard enough? Or are we finally in the wildwood? The wildwood. Beneath this scape of sun, I claw at every minute as we clutch today. in disdain of tomorrow, a holiness of now which we will soon betray. And with a sickening hope, I dangle from the modicum of chance that is run. 2 steps ahead, and always it mocks as I lose track of everyone. I could have turned my back to make myself more nothing yet. So give me comfort now. It is the last we will ever get. And as the stars arise to call the end of time with midnight near, I look into my hands, and the only thing I've held is foolish fear. I turn my head at last, now giving up pursuit with what to show. I've been outrun, but given this, the only thread of your regret to know, this could have been yours. I could have turned my back to make myself more nothing yet. So give me comfort now. It is the last we will ever get. I could have turned my back. I could have turned my back. I could have turned my back. Y'all with me still? Good. I'm glad to see you're still here. It's a song. So that's Last Comfort. That's off the second Thou Shalt Not album. It's called The Holiness of Now. That has the title lyric in it. That's a song that I wrote. I wrote that song when I was 16. Or at least I wrote the main lyric for it when I was 16. And it was originally this song called The Pregnant Moon. And the year that I was 16, I was living in the Netherlands. I was an exchange student. I was speaking Dutch all the time. Ja, ik spreek Nederlands, maar nog niet zo goed. But that was a song that I kind of dug out of the crate around 2000, maybe 2001. No, 2000. Yeah, sort of retooled the lyrics and repurposed its meaning a little bit. And that's one of my favorites. That was the one that when we were making it for The Holiness of Now, that was the song that we're like, ooh, this is going to be different than the first record. If you know my first record, at least the first CD, the self-titled Thou Shalt Not album, it has like some charm to it, but it's not like it's not a good album. But that was the first song that we sort of knew that we were on something more. What are we saying down here? Yes, good. And yes, thank you for those who requested this. This is an all request night, and I'm going to stick with that record for now. We'll see how this goes. I'm gonna do a bunch of songs in D minor for the next few things, and this is off that album and in D minor. And if you're a total weirdo, there's only one song in the Venn diagram of D minor and Holiness of Now, so you already know what it is, and it's this. Feel the grass within my dream. 1,000,000 years it's grown. Unconscious lies the human form, now no longer alone. This is the end of darkness. This is the gift of the wise. A silent breath cuts through and squalls the sand from off my eyes. Awaking from eternal sleep, I'm awaking from eternal sleep. Beyond the night so infinite, and through the gulf where no man stirs. Waking from eternal sleep, the stars will fade, though I will keep their memory as I embrace the sun. Like breathing thoughtlessly in time, the cycles of the moon now past. Alive again I witness who will slumber on, and who like me shall wake at last. All the dreamers quiet as the rays that stood as herald to the days. As now I see the path I trod seal off its entryway. Waking from eternal sleep, I'm waking from eternal sleep. Beyond the night so infinite, and through the gulf where no man stirs. Waking from eternal sleep, stars will fade, but I will keep their memory as I embrace the sun. Waking from eternal sleep, I'm waking from eternal sleep. Beyond the night so infinite, and through the gulf where no man stirs. Waking from eternal sleep, the stars will fade, though I will keep their memory as I embrace the sun. Thanks again for that request. These are some songs that I haven't thought about in a long time. To that effect, I have not played these songs in a long time, so you will pardon me if I'm a little rusty on them, but that's all right. This is one that I've never played before, at least not live for anybody else, and this is one that I wrote on my
So I have this thing where I pay attention to my dreams. I pay very, very close attention to my dreams, and I write them down. And this is one that came to me pretty fully, at least first verse. And the idea for the chorus came to me in a dream, but the first verse with the melody and everything, like the melody was right there with the chords and everything. And this came to me on my birthday a few years ago. It goes like this.
I don't want you to jump, I want you to fly. When the crowd's closing in, let them turn into wind that'll lift you to sky. I don't want you to scream, I want you to sing. And when the sun will not burn, hear it whisper your turn, and your voice will go ringing into light, where heaven's been waiting for you to ignite. Go and decorate your scars, love. Let your tears become stars, love. They'll wash away the night. In your diary you pray, let the voices go still. But when you give them heed, maybe hear what they need. Silently they're fulfilled. And to the mirror you say, I'm not at home in my skin. Or pain round your eyes, on your neck and your thighs, till the outside begins to feel alright. A blanket to wrap round you warm and tight. Go and decorate your scars, love. Let your tears become stars, love. They'll wash away the night. And every time the story ends, the pages cycle through again. For every step along the way, another footprint's life begins. And here and there, and now and then, the song will echo along, amen. But every time the story ends, the pages cycle through again. I don't want you to push, I want you to move earth. When you're put on the spot, when you're told all you're not, then all that you're worth comes into sight. Where absence is presence and black begets white. Go and decorate your scars, love. Let your tears become stars, love, they'll wash away the night. So go and decorate your scars, love. Let your tears become stars, love, they'll wash away the night.
That was one that, boy, it kind of killed me to put that as a bonus track. There's something about that that I really liked. I'm gonna have some water. Water is good for you, I hear. Oh. But after we put out that song as a bonus track, somebody wrote me, and maybe it was one of you, I don't know, but somebody wrote me saying, this song is important, like capital I important. The song is special, and I totally get why, and I totally felt that when I was writing it, and some musicians are always on brand, right? And this is part of like the whole spiel that I put at the beginning of the Patreon thing. Some musicians like write like one kind of song, and I know I'm going to take like KMFDM as an example here, right? Like I know that Sasha from KMFDM has a rich inner life and does other things besides like walk around thinking like KMFDM doing it again, right? But that's what like his music is, right? He keeps making the same record after record, and if you like that record, that's great, right? And that's not how I work at all, right? I have a million different directions that I want to pull things in. And when it came time to assemble Madness and Extinction, I realized that I just needed this like big, like dark rock, this giant piece of ore that album needed to be, and there wasn't really a place for that song on there, which kind of broke my heart. But that was part of Breaking with the Past as well. So there is that. Let me just take a look at what we're saying. Water is great. Wow, that's so kind of you. Y'all are saying so many nice things. Okay. This is a request that this is maybe the first one that I think only a few people are going to know, because at some point I think I linked this to one of my throwaway SoundCloud accounts or something like that. So I have this friend, Jess, and they are a great songwriter and a good friend of mine. It's like we enjoy getting together and like trying out some ideas, and we have this whole set of songs, much more sort of folky, poppy kind of stuff that has nothing to do with what you probably know my music for, right? And they've not been published or released anywhere, really. They've just been kind of things that we did for fun. But this one I really, really like. This one, we came up with it, and it was originally written as like, I don't know, like a self-motivation kind of a song. And I kind of want to pitch it to like the makers of the next, like Rocky movie, or something like that. This is a boxing song, but I like it. This is a really good song. It's called Bring Down the House.
You've got this, you've got this. If I say it enough, I'll believe it. It can happen, anything can happen. In this delicate moment of darkness, I've got this. If I want this, to step outside of this little hiding place I've been haunting, go to battle with these doubts. I'm gonna come out swinging left and right. Underneath 1,000 lights, I'm gonna come out singing. I'm gonna bring down the house. You've got this, you've got this. And I silence all of the voices, all the judges, all the juries, and the laws that have driven you lawless. I've earned this, I deserve this. I'll say it under my breath if every step I take. And I'm nervous, but if it takes me 20 rounds, I'm gonna come out swinging left and right. Underneath 1,000 lights, I'm gonna come out singing. I'm gonna bring down the house. Because the bell is ringing, start the fight. I'll be flying high tonight. I'm gonna come out winging. I'm gonna bring down the house. You've got this. I promise you got this, and everything beyond this. It can happen. It's not a bad thing. Close your eyes. I've got this. I'm ready for the bout. I'm gonna come out swinging left and right. Underneath 1,000 lights, I'm gonna come out singing. I'm gonna bring down the house. Because the bell is ringing, stop the fight. I'll be flying high tonight. I'm gonna come out winging. I'm gonna bring down the house. 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 You've got this, you've got this, you've got this, you've got this, you got this.
Motivation, it's not a bad thing. Here's something else that somebody wanted. This is one that Laura wanted. This is A House from the Sea. This is a long song, so you will pardon me if I'm a little clunky on this, because there are so many words that I don't have them all memorized, but I'm going to do my best with this.
It was early in September that the ocean took my house clean away, clean away. Yes, it vanished like a ghost. 'Twas the kind of gale that swallows ships like cats would eat a mouse. Clean away to the sea. So I cursed the freezing water and I swore I'd build it back. Clean away every plank and sturdy post. For no man or nature's beast can wash its hands of me like that. Clean away, nor the sea. Well, I crossed myself and stepped onto the beach one autumn morn. Clean away, yes, I slipped into the vast, and I marched a dozen leagues upon the prickly ocean floor. Clean away, undersea. There I came upon the wreckage of a mighty silver gull. Clean away, yes, I carried off its mast, and I stole a handsome roofline in the arching of her hull. Clean away from the sea. I will take what's mine, not be taken for a loss. If the briny shows me treachery, I shall win his boss. Yes, the water's wide, and it's suicide to cross, but I will not lose my pride unto the sea. And I chopped the mast to rafters once the barnacles were shaved. Clean away, they were smooth as sweetheart slips, and the house was taking shape from all the timber I had saved. Clean away, out the sea. When I worked with what I had until I wouldn't work no more. Clean away, then I made another trip, and I came upon a lighthouse gone since 1834. Clean away, rob the sea. Well, a chimney in my eyes was, so I pulled it out. Clean away, yes, I surfaced at the shore, and I built a little fire to smoke bad tidings from my house. Clean away by the sea. but my walls were still a-missing. No, I wasn't finished yet. Clean away, I would zero out the score. So I marched into the ocean for one final piece to get. Clean away from the sea. I will take what's mine, not be taken for a loss. If the briny shows me treachery, then I show it his boss. Yes, the water's wide, and it's suicide to cross, but I will not lose my pride into the sea. There were sunken armies, powder kegs, and fishing boats abound. Clean away, each one taken in its time. But what's precious to a man means nothing to the depths that drown. Clean away to the sea. So I ask myself, what's payback for the pulling down my home? Clean away all the driftwood and the grime. And it hit me, there's a house as well here far beneath the foam. Clean away, rob the sea. And I gathered all the mud and earth the briny rests upon. Clean away, this will finish my abode. This foundation for the water, yes, I dragged till it was gone. Clean away from the sea. Now many tides have come and gone since that September day. Clean away, how the sand of time has flowed. But the ocean's raised no hand against my home, stone, wood, and clay. Clean away, stays the sea. I will take what's mine, not be taken for a loss. If the briny shows me treachery, then I show it who's boss. Yes, the water's wide, and it's suicide to cross, but I will not lose my pride into the sea. I will take what's mine, not be taken for a loss. If the briny shows me treachery, then I show it who's boss. Yes, the water's wide, and it's suicide to cross, but I will not lose my pride unto the sea. And that's the sea shanty. A few of the songs that y'all have requested, and one more that I'm going to be doing later on, come from this folk album that I've been working on for, I don't know, like a decade. And it's done except for one song. I've done every song on it except for one, and all I need to get are basically a cello and a viola in here to play the parts for that. And I've written them out and everything, and it's going to happen this summer. And I don't know exactly how it's going to be released, but it's going to be put out there, and it's going to be good. Like, I know that sometimes I'll post like demos or something, or I'll even do like a live stream concert where I'm not, I don't want to say that I'm not bringing my A game all the time, but where my voice slips, or where my fingers are clumsy, or where whatever, right? But I hope it's clear that at least when I'm making a record, when I'm doing like a serious big record, when I'm doing something like Madness and Extinction or Soul, or when I'm doing something like The White Beyond, or even when I'm doing something like The Gothic, I'm really putting my all into that. The folk record will not disappoint you. The folk record's going to be really, really special, and I'm tremendously excited about that. There's not going to be anything half-assed on it. So stick around for that. The sea shanty is not going to be on it. And I apologize for that, but I already gave it to y'all on Patreon. You can go find it. I gave it as a download. And again, kind of like with Decorate Your Scars, it ended up just not really fitting the record. The folk record is an actual thing. It has like a mood, it has a tone, and there are a few songs that I have never showed you or anyone really, because they are kept in reserve for that, and they are at least a few of them are like special songs. So I'm really, really excited about that. Stay tuned for that one. Yeah. Okay, what do we got?
Yeah, I might do an album of sea shanties or something like that. I've got a bunch of like really like kind of goofy folk songs, as you know. If it isn't clear from being on my Patreon, I suffer from just a complete overflooding of like ideas all the time, and so it'll all happen somewhere. Here's one more in D minor. I think this is the last one for now in D minor, and we are going to move onto a different record at this point.
My reaction, my response, I'm a function in need of X. Ask me questions and I reply. I'm never first, but I'm always next. And we stare in our eyes, never blinking and going dry. Do you care more than I? Who will get the last word? And if we trace back the time, who came up with the first line? In any case, it's not mine, because these days I can only react. I'll never speak without your lead. I'm your shadow, I react. I'll be the gear between your teeth. When you're spinning, I react. You are the neutron at light speed. Spring me open, I react. Can I find the 0 point I need? Can I change it all and then take it back? It's so easy to shrink an inch. Or is this room growing even more? It's so easy to light a match when you've been burned once or twice before. And when I swing blind in rage, I'm in search of the first page. And when I sing from the stage, who will get the last word? You're the one who creates, all to which I retaliate. But can I ever navigate another path than to react? I'll never speak without your lead. I'm your shadow, I react. I'll be the gear between your teeth. When you're spinning, I react. You are the neutron at light speed. I'm me open, I react. But can I find the 0 point I need? Can I change it all and then take it back? I'll find where aggression hides away, where my own 2 hands hold sway. It's a bright and beautiful new day. I will act. Your reaction, your relapse, out of love will grow collapse, and something somewhere finally snaps, and I will act, never speak without your lead. I'm your shadow, I react. I'll be the gear between your teeth. When you're spinning, I relax. You are the neutron at light speed. Spring me open, I react. Can I find the 0 point I need? Can I change it all and then take it back? Can I change it all and then take it back? Can I change it all and then take it back?
That's React. That's one of the songs off of Land Dispute. I wrote that when I was getting really into post-punk, and I think you can hear that it's got that kind of a thing. Jeremy, the guitarist of Thou Shalt Not, got really upset that I have the line, I am the neutron at light speed, because he's like, Alex, neutrons don't travel at light speed, and your physics is wrong. And we tried switching it out to critical speed, and I'm like, I'm sorry, Jeremy, art must win over science. We have to say light speed. It is the better lyric. And he never forgave me for that. And he is no longer in my band. Okay, what else about that song? There's some fun stuff going on in that song. Yeah, I don't need to go too deep into it, but that was a fun one to write. That had a lot of fury behind it. Yes, and yes, Mike. Who knows Jeremy? That's a very that was very on brand for Jeremy. Jeremy, he deeply prized the experience of being right. Here's a song that obliviates any need for right and wrong. Open up your secret. Tell me how I might refract. For I am one and one life in one time's a mirror. I've been dying to crack and let the world be more. Though I know on each act I open up a door. I wander till at the labyrinths before that now lie unwondered and ignored. I could swear that I've lived as long as you, that I can imitate anything you do. But your hands are hundreds, I've just two spun from the clock's relentless core. I could move like blown air everywhere, omniscient and wild. I would be your father, brother, lover and child. Find a way to be foolish and be wise, and trace all the seams in time's disguise. At the end of the day, I could blink my eyes to reload another self once more. Now I'm hearing your footsteps in the halls, while your singing is arching over walls. Tell me, can it be really you at all, in skies and on the ocean floor? Last night I had a dream that you adored me. Last night I had a dream that I shone bright. The more I am at once to everybody, the more I'll be like you, the more I can rewrite. Here outside it's raining, it's wailing, I'm soaked to the blood. Somehow I know that you did this. It's your kiss on my head, your dry ground under the flood. And if I learn to swim, then you're still the sea that I'm driving in, defining all that I am and that I've ever been, and all whom I will never be. Is there a way I might drink of you, not drown? Is there a way I might find the pipeline out, or diffuse my body into sound, becoming waves, becoming free? Last night I had a dream that you adored me. Last night I had a dream that I shone bright. The more I am at once to everybody, the more I'll be like you, the more I can rewrite. I dreamt I was the air, that I was so strong. I dreamt I was a promise I could keep. I dreamt I was a film, I was a novel,
prepare for the impossible, a dire and desperate leap. I dreamt about a car of grease and metal. I dreamt I was the moment of its crash. I dreamt I was a fire, a shrieking kettle, a cradle and a coffin and a wolf among the sheep. I dreamt I was a priest without forgiveness. I dreamt I was a thief who could see God. I turned away my eyes to keep them human. Now waking up I find that they've been stolen in my sleep. I dreamt that I had never loved another. I dreamt her heart was safe behind her ribs. That I could stop this war, that I could save her, that I was just a dream, returning to the deep.
It's a song called A Dream. If you listen to Land Dispute, that's the song that opens up side 2. It was never pressed on vinyl, but you can hear that the album has like an arc to it, and this is how I like to make records. And there's this clear moment where it begins the second side. It's really one of the sort of core songs on that album. It's I think it's maybe the last song that I wrote on that record, and it's this weird culmination. I think actually it was after the last live stream concert that I gave, where I talked a little bit about that song. I talked about the fact that it had its roots in this thing that I wrote back when I was like 13 years old. But it also makes reference to all these other songs that I had done up until that point. And you really want to be awfully careful about self-reference. Like, self-reference can be really, really lame, and you don't want to be too on the nose with it. But it was in many ways this kind of closing of a chapter. That's how I view that song. And as a result, it's one of the few Thou Shalt Not songs that I still have some kind of fondness for, attachment to, relationship with. A lot of the Thou Shalt Not material I view with a kind of distance at this point, and that doesn't make it any less good. And if you hold it close to your heart, that's great. And I sure have like fondness and memories and stuff like that. But like, A Dream is this thing where I clearly recognize that person who is making that. So that's that. Who are we hearing from right here? Yeah. All right, y'all are being really, really kind right now. Okay, so that was A Dream. There are definitely a few more. Oh boy, here we go. Here we're gonna. Everybody requested this one. This is like the most requested song of the whole thing. This is a song that I wrote in Kentucky. I like to keep track of when and where I write things. I wrote this one on an out of tune, kind of broken, disused piano in Kentucky. And I wrote it, I don't know, a while back. And this one took a long time to sort of get up and running. And the other thing about this is that this is one that I've not played before. And the chords on it are weird. Geez, I'll just tell you the chords of this right now. It's this like B minor, A, G sharp half diminished, G fully diminished, G sharp minor, F sharp major, B, A,
C sharp minor, B, E, B, E minor, D, G, F sharp. And then it goes into a different key for the chorus. So you can hear that it's kind of doing this really, really wrought kind of a thing. I try not to overdo chord progressions like this because they can make a song seem like hyper dramatic. But this is a hyper dramatic song, so let's do it. Make me an instrument of your peace. That's what she said when the smoke bore silence. When all the fighting slowed, when touching skin was still not close enough to find the soldiers nearby. Said, make me an instrument of your peace. Your peace is kind as an air raid siren. She cursed the dawn still and cold and said it's better to feel another person than do no violence. When your bullets are gone and you still can't connect with the one you love, I'll be your bayonet. I showed her chessboards and cathedrals, translating oceans into bishops' footsteps. That space between us glows, and passion means to kill, and bones are no more than myths of doctors. But with her hands I planted saplings, and with her axe saw them grow and crumble, where every sparrow's nest cast off its eggs like sandbags as it flew to heaven. She's the rays from the sky, burning cancer to skin. She's the jurist who smiles, convicting Anne Boleyn. She's the feast without end, bursting all who partake. And when I raise that white flag, then the war starts again. When your bullets are gone and you still can't connect with the one you love, I'll be your bayonet. And when your cover is blown, your hiding place is found, I will be your revealer deep underground. When your bullets are gone and you still can't connect with the one you love, I'll be your bayonet. When your cover is blown, your hiding place is found, I will be your revealer deep underground. I will be your revealer deep underground. I will be your revealer deep underground. I will be your revealer.
That's one that I like. That's Bayonet. Golly, I think that was the last song that I allowed myself to like lean deep into like battle metaphors. I have decided that I'm just not going to do that anymore. But that one works. I like that one a whole lot. And yeah, again, there were too many songs to put onto Madness and Extinction, and I was listening to that again today, and boy, the mix and the mastering on that Silent Discovery record is kind of botched. I'm going to go back and fix that at some point someday. All right, a few more.
I was born in 1869, a little shack, Newcastle upon Tyne. Now see 10,000 mute workers file past, a seamstress pins her hat, a sailor hugs his cat. But I am fixed in glass, bewitched with glamour, shining through the soot around my eyes. For I have never looked into a camera, so I'm staring straight across the film and locking gaze with time and afterlife. For untouched in a basement, in a kiln, I'll burn and blacken on the film that sleeps inside. I stand at Liverpool on George's Pier and guide the immigration ships to shore. I don't ask who'll see me in 100 years, or will these buildings burn until they're only ash and photograph and more. Now on the docks they pose, but I stare at you again. Between the frames I know just when I'll die. 2010. For as the horse becomes the highway, all the sons of daughters take the ghost way. God bless us anyway. And so I say, I would have loved to have a partner. I would have loved through every lens. I would have filmed 1,000 reels with you, then filmed them all again. I would have loved an Albion, all speckled slopes and brindled blood, a picture green but grainy, of forests older than the flood. I would have loved you like the light, like I am 5 and I'm your son, or I am 12 and you are midnight, or you're 18 and I'm 21. I would have loved to see you laugh, projected larger than the sky, become the wind and sail and mast, become the world into my eye. I am a century forgot, my hair in curls, my shoes untied. There's no America at all. These sailors' cats are still alive, and there was more than we could love. Parades and rubble raining but I would love you, love in black and white. I would be yours. I would be yours.
That's a song called A Recovered Film. I was at a conference. What state was I in? I was in Indiana. I was in Indianapolis. I was at a conference in Indianapolis, and or maybe I was in Kansas City. I was in some Midwestern place. I was in a hotel, and I was watching the Mitchell and Kenyon films, which are these movies that were made right at the turn of the of the 20th century, and they're these black and white films of ordinary daily life in specifically in little towns and cities around England. And there are all these amazing shots of people going about their daily business, and in some cases like looking right into the camera because they've never seen a camera before, and they're transfixed and they've never had this opportunity. And in some cases they're waving and they're all, walking out of work, or maybe they're bathing at the beach or something like that. And I'm reminded by the camera obscura, camera lucida essay by Roland Barthes about a photograph of his mother, and how photography basically connotes death, right? When you look at these pictures, and or in these cases these films of these old people, you have the thought that every last one of these people is gone, and I just spiraled into this like fugue state of depression, but also I just wrote line after line after line. And though the song did go through 2 revisions, basically that song was written in just one huge one big just outpouring, watching those films. And that one is going to be on the folk record. And I have just one more song that I've planned for y'all.
We will walk where the ground gives in. We'll build a cabin of stone and skin, with a little fire to warm our feet. We will taste the jam we spread, as fingers masquerade as bread. When everyone's forgot that tastes so sweet. We will move like railroad tracks. We will breathe like candle wax. And every day we'll find a new stream. There would be no way to find us. We would let the world behind us. Water plays with eyes and sighs to steam. Every time I tell you that we'll do this, you just stall and you whisper, I don't love you, I don't love anything at all. Every time I tell you that we'll do this, you just stall and you whisper, I don't love you, I don't love anything at all.
And that's called Cabin. That's the last song on the Better Roads EP. I think it's the last one. Anyhow, thank you for all your fantastic requests. I'm open to doing more, but that's all that I'd prepared. That's all that I had gotten ready for and printed out the words to. So thank you. How are we doing over here? Yeah, thank you again for all your kind words. Cabin's like a really special one. Again, the Better Roads EP, I just sort of threw it together very quickly, like in a weekend basically. And it just kind of took on this weird little life of its own. And the folk record that I've been making, ever since then, in like 2004 or something like that, is allegedly the follow up to it. And the idea of of that long of a delay between records is ridiculous. But yeah, that's a song that my mixer was broken, and you could hear that it's got all this sort of like noisy stuff going on, and I liked that idea, and I had just bought a trombone at a yard sale in Pittsburgh for $5, and I had played trombone in middle school and not since then, and so my trombone chops are real rusty. But I'm like, that's okay. If we're going with like a broken aesthetic, this idea of like wanting to just hide from the world and cocoon oneself in, which I think is a drive that's almost become like more relevant since then. I feel like everybody feels this way now in a way that like back in 2004, we're like, no, this is great. We can go bomb countries. That'll be fun. But like everyone now has anxiety. Anyhow, that sort of insular sacredness of that song has really become ripe. So yeah, I really like that song. Yeah, and y'all, if a few of the songs that I played tonight, you might not know, and you can go track most of those down most of them are available on like various old records and things like that. It's all available on Bandcamp. The Better Roads EP is available on the Thou Shalt Not Bandcamp page. It's just thoushalltnot.bandcamp.com. And you know, explore. If you haven't looked at this stuff, you can go pick this stuff up. I've made it all super cheap. I got a request or two at the last minute. I'll do one more. I'll do one more. Here we go. Actually, I'll tell you a little bit about this song. This is a song that I was thinking about. Determinment, right? This is actually, I was doing a bunch of reading on like punk music, and you read about situationism when you read about this stuff. Sometimes if you read like Grail Marcus talking about punk music, or if you read Simon Reynolds, you end up reading about Guy Debord and the situationists of the 50s and 60s and beyond. These are basically the people who were like mystical, artistic, socialist, political, revolutionary, sort of combining everything together in a way that now seems absolutely foundational. But like they were the first ones really to kind of codify this, and they were more or less responsible for the 1968 riots in France, in Paris, and yeah. So they have this thing where they talk about determinant, where they talk about inverting the meaning of something. And so, you know, whenever you've seen like Banksy doing art, or when you see people like taking like, you know, Coca-Cola logos and like doing weird stuff to it, a lot of this stuff where you're sort of doing like Adbusters style artwork and flipping the meaning of something, that basically falls into that. And so I was thinking about, how do we flip the meaning of something? And I got thinking, okay, I'm a songwriter. How do I flip something musically, right? And this is like a thing that I do on knowledge, right? When I have the chorus of "I have read the terms and conditions, I accept the terms and conditions," obviously that's deturning it, right? That's taking a well-known phrase that means one thing and totally reframing it and meaning something else with it. So I got thinking, how do I deturn something musically? And what's the biggest musical cliche? Well, the love song, right? So I was like, okay, I can start off with random juxtaposition. And so I said, okay, love, right? Love song. What if we add like one more notion to this? And I literally opened up a book. I don't even remember what book it was. Open up a book. I was practicing bibliomancy, right? Bibliomancy is where you flip the pages open to a book, you hold your hand over your eyes, you put your finger on the page, and boom, whatever you see is what you get, right? And it's your fortune. And I did this with a book, and the word citizen appeared. And I'm like, there we go. That's all it takes is "I love you, comma, citizen," and then suddenly everything about the love song gets totally undermined. And that was one that just wrote itself. The song wrote itself, and this is how it came out. I wrote it at the piano. Oh, hang on. Hey, Pai Mei. My kitty cat Pai Mei is here. Say hello. Say hello, Pai Mei. Say hello to the nice people. Oh, okay. Pai Mei doesn't like being photographed very much, but she is here and she's on my lap. All right, here we go.
This is your love song, citizen. I love you, citizen. You're without equal among civilians. You are unique amid the billions. So here's your love song, citizen. I am reaching out to you and only you. I am hoping that my funny voice gets through, 'cause I'm aware, I am aware, you might find it hard to think I really care, but I know what it's like to be alone within a city full of bright, happy homes. This is your love song, citizen. I love you, citizen. You're without equal among civilians. You are unique amid the billions. So here's your love song, citizen. So here's your love song, citizen. So here's your love song. Citizen. I love you, citizen. I love you, citizen. I love you, citizen. I love you.
All right, there you go. Okay. Thank you. This has been great. This has been super fun. It is late. I know that some of y'all are watching over in Europe or in lands far flung where it must be extremely late. So I'm just going to say thank you for a concert. I'm going to hit stop on my recording device. I'll stick around on video if you want to talk a little bit longer. I'm totally happy to talk. I like doing a little chat back, a little how you doing, a little who's your father. But let me hit stop on the recording. Hang on. All right, there we go. Save. Let me hit save. Let's save as live stream. And it'll take a second to save. As I'm looking at some of your, okay, so I'm looking at some of these comments here, and you'll pardon me as I move the computer up so I can get a look at this. Yes, y'all are saying hi to Paime. And yes, obviously, I shouldn't say obviously. Yes, Citizen is totally supposed to have dark undertones to it. The way that I thought of it fitting in the record, geez. So Citizen comes after the Forgetting Room, right? I was just looking at Spotify the other day. I'm not really a Spotify person, but I understand that it's like the way of the world. So there's no getting away from it. And that is how a lot of people listen to music, which is totally fine, right? But I was looking at Spotify, and Forgetting Room is the least listened to song on Soul, which is fine because it's like long and slow, and it happens like 2/3 of the way through the record. So I don't hold that against anyone. However, I will say that Forgetting Room is like one of my favorite songs on the record, and it's one of these big sort of I don't know, important songs for me. Yes, I'm glad. I'm glad that somebody likes it, right? But the way that I think about Forgetting Room is it's about the passage of time, right? It's about imagine that like the universe has Alzheimer's, right? Imagine that God has Alzheimer's. Imagine that the universe has some maybe like cellular, physical um, trace of memory and of previous events. Um, but it can't access them, or it can't access their meaning, or that we might have experiences but we forget what they mean over time and we don't understand them, and that it would take some sort of forensic detective, someone in like the Victor sorry the Jorge Luis Borges library at Babel, to like do the research and to recover some of these memories, in order to realize that like there was love or something like that. Imagine, the universe forgetting about the possibility of love, or like you forgetting what the person that you love looks like, and all you knew is that there was a person that you loved, or there was a thing, or there was just a feeling. And so what does it look like if somehow like they preserve your consciousness, not like 50 years after you die, but let's say 50,000 years, 50 million years after you die? What does, a moment of love preserved and fermented for eons turn into? And so Citizen is this weird blend where, like, on the one hand, it's like, yeah, ironic, right? It's a determinant, and if you want to read it as just like purely dystopian, if you want to read it um, as like 1984. If you want to read it as a little bit goofy, you can. That's actually something that I kind of leaned into on the remix of it. I love that remix, by the way. If you have not listened to the extended mix of Citizen, it's a great remix and it's one of my favorites. But I put this quote in there from the book We, which is a famous Russian science fiction dystopian novel by Evgeny Zamyatin, and and that was kind of what I was leading into with that version. Yeah, good. So a few people know that, right? But but with Citizen, the other thing I wanted to kind of get is the possibility that like what you're hearing in Citizen is like this robotically reconstructed pathway of love, right? And so I wanted to preserve the possibility that there's something earnest in it, and finding that balance was kind of interesting and kind of a chore, and that's why the vocal on it is not purely vocoded and it's not purely auto-tuned. I did a bunch of weird stuff to it, to sort of get these moments that sound more human and these moments that sound less human, um, and yeah. So like Citizen, it's like on the one hand, it's like a novelty song, right? It's a high concept, cute song, and that's one of the reasons why we released it like first, why we showed people that song early before the album came out, because we're like, okay, everybody can latch onto this song and can understand at least some angle of this song. But as far as I'm concerned, Citizen really has a lot to do with Forgetting Room as well, if that makes any sense. And the Forgetting Room, um, is also sort of a follow through on like Phantom Limb, even though Forgetting Room came first. Forgetting Room I wrote when I was just like plainly suicidal. I mean, like I suffer from bad depression, and it shuts me down sometimes for days or weeks or, oh, I don't know, a year at a time. And Forgetting Room was written at like an absolute nadir, but it was also the kind of thing where as soon as I sort of had it, I'm like, okay, this is something that I can work with. Anyhow, good. Y'all are talking about some stuff that I don't really know. Colossus, the Forbin Project, or for that matter, the Hymn of Axiom. I don't know what that is. That's totally fine. Great. If you connect it with things, that's great. Um, I don't. I don't know every piece of media out there, and especially if it's either gaming or anime, I just don't follow it. And that's no diss on gaming or anime. I only have so much time for things. Hey, here's Paime. Paime is, yeah, she wants to be on my lap. Here she goes onto my lap. Yeah. Paime, you're being famous right now. Hymn of Axiom. Oh, okay, Vienna Tang. Yeah. I'm aware of her stuff. I have not listened to a whole lot of it, but I am aware of her stuff. Yeah. Um, and yep. The increasing. Thank you for the torty love right there. Yeah, the sort of dystopian information thing. So right now, if you are not aware of it, I've been working on a big piece of writing about Laurie Anderson, who is a performance artist and musician and artist and poet and all kinds of interesting person. And she did this record called Big Science in 1982, which part of my sort of thesis about this record is that it recognizes a state of corporate modernity, this kind of surveillance state, and this kind of sense that no one is driving and that no one is piloting culture. Oh, hold on. Time is nuzzling me. Anyhow, it recognizes that basically before anybody else makes that recognition, and so I sort of say that it's ahead of its time and kind of a prescient record. But she also makes this album, I think in 2008, maybe 2010, called Homeland. And it's absolutely about the surveillance state, and it's absolutely about that kind of stuff. There's this great single called "Only an Expert Can Deal with a Problem," and yes, as Pinky is pointing out here, it's got this famous opening. Good evening, this is your captain, kind of a thing. And it's a really wild record. And if you're interested in this, sometime in the next year, I'm gonna have a book coming out about that album, and you can read literally 100 pages and more of what I have to say about that record. But I don't want to give the game away too much on it. Very good. Anything? I'm just scrolling through your comments earlier. Oh my God, y'all are talking about Judith. Yes, Judith, meet me at Applebee's is if you are not aware, I have a side project. I've not actually made any official releases, but a side project called Kibble, and it's where I put a bunch of my extremely goofy songs. If it isn't clear, I'm really goofy, and like this is again part of not being on brand all the time. Is that like part of my Alexness is that I cannot stop making wordplay and puns and like injecting absurdity into things, and it makes life really entertaining up here, but it also makes it hard to communicate what's going on there because other people are having the same conversation they were having 2 minutes ago, and I'm like, okay, but what about what about Isaac Newton wearing a porcupine as a scarf? And that doesn't make me special, by the way. It just means that I should probably be medicated, and it's not that uncommon. But yes, Judith, "Meet Me at Applebee's" is the song by Kibble, and it's like a really groovy dance track. Like you can absolutely shake your butt to it, and it's about paranoia and all kinds of things. And I'm sorry that I didn't play it. I will at some point release at least an EP, if not a full record of Kibble stuff. There are a few Kibble songs that I've never shown anyone yet, and there are one or two that have only been seen by a few people. There's a song called "What Time Is It?" It's basically the best song I've ever written. It's about 1 minute long. Yeah, okay, somebody knows that song. Yeah, someone says "How to Be a Success Who Have Never." Oh, good. Right, of all the things to show to someone's like, yeah. Of all the songs of mine to show, like here I've written like 500 songs, heartfelt things about about love over the centuries, and people are like, "Oh yeah, you want to hear an Alex Reed song? Let me show you how to be a success. I'm gonna join a cult." But yeah, there's that. Yes, "The Eternal Persistence of Dread." That's a great 30th birthday song. That's an outstanding song. I think that I mentioned maybe. Yeah, I understand. So, "The Eternal Persistence of Dread" is the song that goes like, "I was only a boy when my life was destroyed by a nagging sharp fear in my head. So profane, it's profound. No, there's no getting round the eternal persistence of dread. The eternal persistence of dread. Dread! The eternal persistence of dread. The eternal persistence of dread, right? And it's extremely goofy, but it's like a good drunken sing-along song, and the backing vocals on it I recorded with a party who was here, right? I had a party with some friends over, and I'm like, all right, y'all have to do me a favor and sing the word dread very, very loudly and sound extremely intoxicated while you do so. Cabot's back. Everybody, Cabot's back. Can you believe it? Can you believe that Cabot has joined us again? I can't believe it. Cabot, you're my favorite ragdoll. You're my favorite raggy bear. Yes, you are. Yes, you have no idea what's going on. You're a slow, slow kitty, and I love you even so. You're a little cloud of unknowing. You have not so much consciousness as things happening, right? So, like, right now, I don't think that he's thinking, oh, daddy, pick me up. He's thinking, I want the squeeze feeling. That squeeze feeling that I think I've had before. I can't be sure, but that would be nice. How does that happen? I don't know. But here I am giving him that squeeze feeling. Oh, he's looking. He's looking. Oh, my goodness. He's looking right at you. All right. Yeah, there are a lot of cats here. AJ says, the person who introduced me to Thou Shalt Not at a wedding with two songs, Girls Like Me and a cover of Headhunter. Yeah, Girls Like Me is sorry, I have cat hair on my tongue. You ever wonder when cats wash themselves? Sorry. Do you ever wonder if when cats are washing themselves, it's not that they're trying to wash themselves, it's that they're like, oh, I have hair on my tongue. I'm going to try to get the hair off my tongue. Ah. Oh no, I have another hair on my tongue. Ah. Oh no, I have another hair on my tongue. Ah, ah, ah. Do you think that's what they're doing? 3 cats total. There's Cabot, who you just saw. There's Paime, and then way upstairs is Princess Peppercorn. She is our third kitty. We got her like 2 years ago. But yeah, someone's talking about GLM, Girls Like Me, and that was a song that was written after like really some specific experiences where friends of mine were having like basically like shitty boyfriend problems, or like people were hitting on them in ways that were really not cool, or they were not being allowed to have the kind of I don't know, autonomy that they and like respect that they ought to be given. And this was I mean I was like 20 when I wrote the song. So my awareness of like the politics surrounding this stuff was real hazy and nascent at the time. But I certainly knew that I liked the idea of playing with gender and of addressing some of these issues, and I wanted to put something a little bit faster and more sort of upbeat and maybe even kind of fun on the White Beyond, which is otherwise not really a fun record. I mean, like there are like you can you can shake your butt to it. It's groovy, but it's not like yeah. And so GLM, I worked pretty hard to give it something between like I didn't want to make it seem goofy, but I still wanted it to have that fun, and I still wanted it to fit on the record. And part of that is why we like ended it with this like giant like which is also how it swings right into what's it called, Trial by Fire, right? Yeah, that's like the other fun song on the album, right? So yeah, everybody likes Trial by Fire. I almost when we were touring for the White Beyond, I was like prone to getting angry about how much people like Trial by Fire, because I'm like, no, you should care about like Inside of You, In Spite of You, which never worked live, because here's the thing, like here's one of the reasons. Here's why when I play live with Seeming, why I like to do the Burial first, because it's got like a low vocal in it, right? It's God will bury you, right? It's this low like bass vocal, and in a club setting, you need you need to be able to project those notes, and my voice doesn't like to hold on to its low end over time. The more that I sing, the more the low end goes out, whereas I can keep belting the high stuff out, right? And so if I try to do like Inside of You, In Spite of You toward the end of a set, or if I try to do the Burial toward the end of a set, it just doesn't really come across. And and yeah, I always wanted, like, the big, slow, serious songs to be the, the fan favorites, because I'm priggish, and self-important. And so when people are like, yeah, 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 the fun song with the swing beat, I'm like, no, you're liking the wrong thing. And I think over time I finally have gotten over being angry at people who like my music, because that's a terrible habit to be into. So in fact, I will in fact extend a thank you. I'll extend a gratitude. Thank you. Hi, I like you. Thank you for being into my music. Um, y'all are writing, yes, Trial by Fire. Take the opportunity to profoundly thank you for the gender weirdness. Yes, gender weirdness is really, really fucking important. Um, I have, I think, so I am a like I shouldn't say by default. I am a cisgendered male, but that basically does not mean anything to me. I have divested myself, and I've spent a long time divesting myself of any care about what like masculinity can do for me, really. And obviously, there's still like parts of that aesthetic that still linger around, because I'm like, I like having a low voice in my music or something like that. But aside from that, in terms of like any politics of that, I think that that's absolutely to be questioned and discarded. And like, I have spent time questioning, like, am I really this gender? Must I be this gender? Are there other options? And sure, yeah, there are absolutely other options, and they are really, really, and like those options are super, super important that we have those. The itch that I have inside is not going to be fixed by having a different gender, but that doesn't mean that that's not what um, that's not, what's going to help other people. The itch that I have inside is going to, I don't think it's ever going to be fixed. But yeah, basically, like, I think gender being what it is, being the kind of construct that it is, being the sort of intersubjective social thing that we build, like all um, categories that fit that mold, like all things that we construct as alleged truths, but that are really actually much more malleable. Once you start thinking about history or biology or sociology or literally any actual field of like probing. Yeah, gender totally deserves to be like pulled apart. And I'm happy to have any festival in doing so. I wear skirts. I wear makeup. I do weird things that y'all don't need to know about. But like, I have had lovers and friends and partners, and the dealing with um, monogamy, and masculinity, and like all the BS surrounding this stuff. Um, it's absolutely, yet another thing to be questioned and unpacked and stuff like that. What are y'all saying? I'm reading a little bit down here. People are saying, "Hey, hey, Kitty, that's a great song. Profoundly, yes, great, thank you." Yes, lower register goes away at the end of choir concerts. I should probably take voice lessons, but also I like really enjoy the certain like roughness when I sing, and that's probably bad for me. A lot of the vocals on Soul were recorded, like I would set the alarm clock at like 6 a.m. and I'd go to bed at like 2:30, and I'd wake up and I'd have the microphone armed and ready to record, so that I'd wake up at like 6 and I'd go to the microphone, and like the first take would be like, "Bah," but then like by like the second or third take, my voice would be like exactly where I wanted it, in that kind of big sound. Mm, good. Yes, if I were you, yeah, a few people have talked to me. Have talked to me about that song. The basic message of "If I Were You," and I think I talked about this on the podcast about it, is like, if you need to make some change, or if you need to, explore some change, or if there's something that you are like, I should do this thing, do the thing, right? You live only once. I mean, you live one life, and like, the world wants you to be afraid all the time. um, and don't let that happen. Go and do that thing. Go and be brave. Go and chart that uncharted territory. Do the weird thing. Yes, a mix of weirdness, body horror, darkness, and then goofy fun time. These things are all sides of the same coin, right? This, I mean, like goofiness and seriousness, despair and the absurd. I mean, go read some Sartre, go read some Camus, go read some Burroughs, go read some N.K. Jemisin. All these things are all sort of mixed in the stuff. Um, blah 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 blah. Yes, one who played them for me came out a few years later. Yeah, I mean, I've had a lot of friends come out, not even just in the last few years, but like, I mean, I when I mentioned that I don't think I literally don't think I have any any straight cis male friends. I mean, okay. Fruitopia is a trans man. So much of your stuff resonates with me. I'm so glad. I'm so glad. Somewhere on the NB side was trans masculine, but have to stay closeted because your hometown. Yes, that is bullshit when that has to happen. And also, and this is a thing that I've said, elsewhere. And by the way, don't take my opinion more seriously than anybody else's, because I am not your coach. I am not your guru or anything like that. I'm just like some dude. But you're allowed to be different things at different times, right? Like, you can, like, there are people who are like, oh wow, I realized that I was this all along. Great, fine. There are people who are like, ooh, you know what? No, I really actually understand that there was a before and an after, or like, I don't want to commit to anything, or like, you read about people who like, there's this weird, like, weaponized "told you so" ism that happens from the right wing when they hear about, for example, like, um retransitioning, which can sometimes be a thing. There's this sense of like, aha, you were wrong, and actually, we were right to assign you this gender at birth. And like, that's a really gross, cruel oversimplification of what goes on, because you're allowed to have different chapters of your life. And also, um maybe, I don't know, I can't speak for anybody else, but obviously these things are complicated, and like, it's not the same for everybody. And like, let your journey be your journey. It's totally okay. Yes, getting some love for NK Jemisin right there. No vocal lessons. You sounded like they're a lot like me about 6 months before I transitioned. Ha, Emily. Yes, yes, yes. And yeah, I mean, that's funny. Meredith and I had a talk the other day where, because as we talk about things, right? We are primary partners, and we live together and all this stuff. We were talking about this stuff, and yeah, we she was like, you are not going to transition, are you? And it would be okay if you did, but like, I'm just checking in, and I'm like, no, I'm good. Obviously never say never, but like, no, I'm like I said before, you know uh the that's not, whatever. I'm where I am right now. It's fine. How else we doing? Oh man, Orlando is a great. Orlando is yes, Orlando is great. And also, there's the nice movie that they made of that, which I quite like as well. What else? People talking about, does Oh Invisible have any relationship to Twisted Hands? They seem similar to me melodically, says the Mind After Dark. Oh Invisible, right? I think it's the only song I've ever released in D flat major. The more you know, right? Oh, Invisible. No, not consciously, right? Twisted Hands. I wrote Twisted Hands when I was 14, right? I did it in the 9th grade talent show. Oh Invisible. Oh Invisible. I wrote as a cut up, actually. Oh Invisible was, boy, on my old live journal. I have somewhere the original. You know what? Let me see if I can find this. Someone is asking about Oh Invisible. Here we go. What I can get. Let's see if I can find this. Yep. Here is the original. Here's the original lyric, or rather, here's the original word salad that became Oh Invisible. And this is when I was living in Pittsburgh. This is also, by the way, when I was friends with Amanda Palmer, who we stopped writing to each other because life happens and because she got all famous and stuff. But for a little while, she and I were like buds, and we did a show together in Pittsburgh back when the Dresden Dolls' first album had just come out. Because I remember seeing the Dresden Dolls right before their first record came out. They were playing a show with Edward Caspel. They were the opening act for Edward Caspel, the lead singer of the legendary Pink Dots. And I remember sitting in the crowd, and it was like a crowd of like 15 people at this tiny club in Pittsburgh. And it was one of these moments of intense like jealousy. I'm like, oh shit, these people are going to be really like, these people are going to blow up and they're really good. And I am totally swayed by this, right? Like I loved that first Dresden Dolls record. And whatever you feel about Amanda Palmer, because I know that she's super divisive these days, and like I at this point have gone back and forth so many times that I'm just like shoulder shrug about the whole ordeal, right? It's like there are lots of good things that she has done for the world, and there's lots of stupid things that she said and whatevs. But anyhow, I wrote this song when she and I were talking a lot, and I sent her an early copy of this song, and she gave me like some nice words about it and stuff like that. I'm talking about Oh Invisible here. And I had just gotten a piano. I had just gotten my first piano ever, and this is when I was on like a little tear of writing songs at the piano. This is when I was also writing like a song called "Show You," which I think I posted on Patreon. This is also around the time when I was writing Unresolved, and when I was writing Crawling Deeper and things like that. Some stuff that was happening around the time of Land Dispute. And Oh Invisible happened, and the lyric that it came from, here it is. I wrote this on my LiveJournal. Here's the full entry from LiveJournal. I said, sat down with some of my, and the title of this entry is Imperatrix Mundi, which means Empress of the World, which is a line from Carmina Burana, right? Talking about Fortuna, oh Fortuna, right? Fortune, the Roman goddess of fortune, of luck, of random chance, being the goddess of the world. And so I was taking random chance. I was cutting up. I was cutting up some of my own words. Here's what I say. I sat down with some of my own words, some William Gibson, and some Interpol lyrics. And this is back when Interpol was cool. Interpol has just gotten so terrible. And I started cutting. Scissors, making strips and taping them together, again and then horizontal, diagonal, shuffling, and at random. It's the technique that Burroughs and Geisen invented and that Bowie used in making Outside. I quite like the results. I also, in the last half hour, have developed a crush on the girl sitting next to me in the computer lab. Soon I'll get up and leave and never say a word to her or see her again. True story. To my knowledge, I've never seen her again, and I don't know who this was. Okay, but here's what I actually wrote. There she goes into the sea. So goodbye. This is today. We are aging. Take love in free time and spend one day airtight. Oh, invisible subway, you have lights. Oh, invisible, boring heart and mind. Oh, invisible darling, your voice is breaking up, and I want into my night. There you go into the sea where it tastes sick, but you'll get used to salt water if you aren't already hooked. Fast forward through the coral, the stranger's white juice highway. Here history is illuminated, each fragment a gray body. I'm a wave butcher, cutting, chopping, here I come into the sea. So if you know the lyrics of Oh Invisible, about half of that is recognizable. Like a lot of that made its way, but you also see that I did a lot of sculpting, right? A lot of like, bending that into something like an actual song. All this to answer the question, is Oh Invisible connected to Twisted Hands? Not consciously, right? I could maybe hear like, Twisted Hands has got this, how can I see with these blackened eyes of yours? And Oh Invisible has this, here we go, right? How can I see with these blackened eyes of yours? Maybe. Similar kind of melodic arc. This is also, I only realized this like years after writing this, but this is a whole lot like Saint-Saëns, the Swan, right? Le Cygne in French. Right, and it's this like romantic piano piece that sometimes gets played on violin, and actually Clara Rockmore does an amazing version on the theremin of it. Okay. Blah 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 blah. Yes, computer lab crush is totally a mood, dude. I get crushes so easy. Okay. Someone says I can see where Oh Invisible comes from, but then there are brick walls without warning at a couple of twists. Yeah, I mean, revision is really, really important. Yeah, Clara Rockmore. Yeah, revision is really, really important. This is a thing that I'm dealing with right now, right? Do you want to hear? Do you want to hear a song that I wrote yesterday? It's currently in first draft mode state, right? Yes, Christy says yes. All right, Christy, fine. Great. Hi, Christy. How are you? Okay. All right. Let me set this down here. I got to pull up the lyric to this. Hang on. Good. I'm glad. This one I'm liking enough that this one might be on the new album. Like, the new album is mostly done, but then I keep writing new songs, right? Which is it's kind of a pain. Like of all the problems to have. Give me a second here. Golly, I gotta pull this up. Sorry. Nope, that's not it. Hang on. Sorry, I gotta find the lyrics. I don't know what I called the file. Oh, here we go. Here it is. Okay. All right. This is a song that I wrote yesterday. This is hot off the presses. Okay, here we go. This is called Subterranean. It's currently called Subterranean. Who knows where it's going to go, right?
Follow me to the deep. Do it in your sleep. Gonna lose sight of the sky, the way that a caterpillar dies before it awakens and flies. Yes, God, look at the night, changing color like a bruise or a dog bite. We got all the days in the world, a lifetime of riots to incite, a high crime and a spell casting pearls. Subterranean, the country underneath, where no gravity police hold us apart. Subterranean, the side that no one sees, 180 steep degrees down to the heart. Subterranean, the country underneath, where no gravity police hold us apart. Subterranean, the side that no one sees, 180 steep degrees down to the heart. So drink to your thirst, to where the island and Orion reverse. In the new tentacled house, we can join where the crocodile shouts, where it's fearsome, frantic, and loud. Now follow me to the deep, follow through the gateways of sleep. Lose your memories of the sky and dance the way religions die. Yeah, we're gonna dance the way religions die. Subterranean, the country underneath, where no gravity police hold us apart. Subterranean, the side that no one sees, 180 steep degrees down to the heart. Subterranean, the country underneath, where no gravity police hold us apart. Subterranean, the side that no one sees, 180 steep degrees down to the heart. Amid a gallon of salt water in a bell jar overturned, see the light burst from the belly of a seahorse giving birth. 2,000 kinds of consciousness, all living in the moment, unaware of any ocean into which they may be dawning. Now walk across the museum, see the dried up human hand, some kid discovered on a playground, digging idly in the sand. And it made the local papers one single freakish day before a reliquary lost a saint's glove a continent away. There's a lone sprawling antler of a deer so long extinct, and not a tree remembers how it wept that final spring. And now a jewel on the table, many pass but no one touches. Hot and green is its temptation, but hotter still the repercussions. No needle's eye or candle wick, nor the catalog of hummingbirds, all frozen in mid-sex, reveals the reason for this underworld. Nor counterpoint of dolphin song can tell the crystal sermon that you feel right now below the ground, from which there is no returning. Subterranean, 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 the country underneath, where no gravity police hold us apart. Subterranean, the side that no one sees, 180 steep degrees, down, 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 down to the heart. Down, 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 down to the heart. Going down, down, down to the heart. Going down, down, down to the heart. So I wrote that yesterday. And, yeah, good. Yes, good. You like that? You like the spoken word part? That's nice. Good. Yes, with the down, down, downs. All right. Anyhow, thank you for listening to some random stuff that I threw together. Golly. So anything else you want to know about? Anything else you want to ask about? Because otherwise, I'm probably going to go get some, I don't know, some dinner, food, things that people eat. Oh, thank you. I'll say this. Talking about random stuff, right? I mean, I know that I've had a few threads on the Patreon about like sharing your stuff, about like saying, "Hey, everyone, go tell us what you do." You can do that. You feel free to like talk to each other. I think that some of you maybe know each other or like know each other from online or something like that. Yeah, feel free to like use the community function, or like feel free to like start comment threads or something like that. Why a section of Goodnight Lena was edited out of the music video version? Oh, because I wanted it to be shorter. Because people have a short attention span, and when you're selling them a pop song, you know there's like the radio edit thing, and so I was trying to trim it down and make it as like immediate, so that if you've never heard my music and you've never heard anything else, and all you're getting is like 3 minutes and really only like the first 30 seconds to care about the song, I wanted to cut absolutely right to the chase. So yeah, the video version of Goodnight London, I really wanted to
make it as tight as possible. This is like standard pop practice, basically. Like the single version is usually shorter than the album version. Um, the album version is for people who care enough to, oh, I don't know, stay on a chat channel for 2 hours and 10 minutes, which is what it's been now. Anyhow, and yeah, that was a fun video. I the director and I talked about a whole bunch of things, and we decided not to have me in the video. I've got this whole car crash thing. I think I'm mostly over it. I think at some point somebody called me out for having too many car crash things, because on the first album, on the first Thou Shalt Not album, there's this like the last song on it. This There's the song called Crash, which is actually maybe the best song on that album. Um, and then I did like When I Crash, and then I did the weird car song State Road on the New World EP, and I think there was maybe another one. And I mentioned I Dreamt I Was the Moment of Its Crash on that's one of the self references that I was talking about in a dream. So like at this point, I think that's the last car crash thing that I'm gonna do, because oh yeah, right, and then of course When I Crash, right, the opening cut on Land Dispute, which is a fun song. But like, yeah, is there any particular story behind State Road 25? Yeah. It is. Thank you. Y'all are so kind. If you need to go, that's okay. I'm not like going to I'm not gonna like enforce you must stay and listen to me. But someone is asking about State Road 25. That was the first Thou Shalt Not song you heard. What a weird song to start with. I really like that song, but we actually filmed a video for it that I hated, and it was the When I Crash. All right, well, fine. But yeah, we filmed a video for State Road 25 that I really didn't like, and part of that was because the people who filmed it was this like German camera crew that the record label brought in. They like filmed a bunch of shots, and then they just like, hi Laura, and then they just like randomly snipped together all these shots that they took at like consistent pacing, so there was no sense of the music having any rhythm with the video, and it was badly edited. They didn't use any correct post-production on it. But State Road 25 is a retelling of The Vanishing Hitchhiker, which is one of the all-time urban legends, right? The idea that you pick someone up who's like, oh yeah, take me home, and then you take them home, and then they're not there, and then like their dad is like, oh yeah, they died like 30 years ago. This happens every 6 months or something like that, or every full moon, or every time when it's her birthday. But I really wanted to say, what happens if you tell it from the Vanishing Hitchhiker's point of view? What happens if you tell it from the ghost's point of view? And I wrote it as a folk song, but then I'm like, I could electrify this. Speaking of weird keys, that one's in C sharp minor, which is a key that I also never use. You're talking about When I Crash, Christy. Yeah, When I Crash. I think I may have played it on my last concert that I did. It was like a live cast. When I Crash is one of my favorite songs, at least that I've written. And again, talk about songs that like came in one huge concentrated burst. It's a big explosion of a song, and super frantic, and matches with that kind of post-punk vibe, that kind of desperation, because like what I wanted around the time that I was making Land Dispute was just for everything to sound desperate and urgent and like a life or death situation, which is kind of the idea. Like when we were, I remember the conversation that we were having when we were trying to come up with the album name for Land Dispute. Here's a story that I've never told. It's not a very interesting story, but we were sitting over at Jeremy's house, which we called Shady House because he lived on Shady Street, which is in fact the same street that synagogue shooting was on last year in Pittsburgh in Squirrel Hill. It was basically next door, but we were all at Shady House, and we were talking. All right, what is what is like the thesis statement of this album? And we were really, and I said, there's this record by Placebo, if you know Placebo, and at the time I was listening to a lot of Placebo. Meredith got me really into Placebo, and on the cover of this album called Without You I'm Nothing, it has these two, I think it's two women sitting with their heads like right against each other over the table, sort of implying some kind of conflict, some sort of unspoken conflict. And I pulled that up for the other members of the band, and I'm like, I want the album to be called something that looks like how this looks. And I can't remember if it was Aaron or Jeremy, but they said, yeah, it looks like they're engaged in some kind of land dispute. I'm like, that's it. We'll just go with that. We'll call it Land Dispute, because it is an album that's all about kind of fighting for space and territory in which to exist, and the notion that that sort of struggle is everywhere. That's my interpersonal struggle album. Thanks so much. Yes, OMG, I was feeling that the urban legend dies. I'm so glad. Yes, absolutely. Backstories are interested. Vibes, I'm too excited to type apparently. Great. Okay. That's, I think, where we're going to leave things. This is always so much fun. The last thing that I'll say is this. I am aware that when I give these concerts, when I give, and I use the word concert again in scare quotes, and I would give you a scare quote with my left hand, except that I'm petting my cat Paime on my lap with my left hand. You see, there she is. And I'm holding my laptop with my right hand. But when I give these concerts, um, um, I'm aware that they are not perfect. I'm aware that they're not polished. I am aware that, like, some of you may have gotten into my music because what you heard was like big, noisy industrial music. And I love big, noisy industrial music. I like making it. I like doing it. But it's really hard to make a convincing show that looks at all visually compelling, right? Like, I could twiddle knobs and like run loops, and I could like make distortion happen and like do like a power noise DJ set of like my own stuff. That would be fine. Um, but I don't know if that's what you want. But I feel like sometimes um, yeah, absolutely. Good night. Good night. Good night. Good night. But I feel like sometimes people with my stuff in particular um, have this sense of like, yeah, I want like big noisy stuff. I want it to sound like Ein Stürzende Neubauten, and I want it to sound like Covenant's noise tracks or something like that. And who's this bozo playing the piano like a freaking you know Broadway cabaret singer? And I totally empathize with that, right? Because I realize that I am that bozo. So in the future, different concerts, I might do something. I might do something other than like sitting at a piano. I might do something a little bit more big and impressive. And I promise that when I go on tour, which will happen, that I will broadcast some stuff, and you'll get like the full thing with the backing videos and all that business. But I want to recognize and like give an I see you, a shout out to the people who are like, all right, I put up with Alex and his stupid piano and his stupid guitar and his stupid songwriting when all I really want is to like dance to Combi Christ, right? I don't think there are too many people who really think that about my stuff, but like I understand the basic impetus, right? Okay, alrighty. That is that's very, very kind. Yeah. That's true with the whole unplugged thing. I know, and like I like doing the unplugged thing, but there's other ways to do shows, and there's lots of, yeah. So I might for the next show I might do something a little bit more experimental and noisy. And I don't know why I'm saying "und" with a French accent, but maybe I'm from Switzerland or something. Okay. I've got some more surprises coming up for y'all in the Patreon in the coming month or two. I'm going to be doing some traveling, and I'm going to be maybe collaborating with a person or two that you might care about, and that's all kinds of interesting. So stay tuned. Also, if y'all are at the tier 3 and tier 4 stuff, and you get the mixtapes, I am always welcome. I always welcome input as to what y'all want mixtapes of, because I collect and listen to and think about music all the time, and I like. I really, really enjoy assembling those, and it's time for me to do the next one. Okay, that is great. That's kind of you. The kazoo performances. There we go. All right, I'm gonna go in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Thank you.